It was just after 2 a.m. when Aiden was driving home after hanging out with friends at his university in Tampa, Florida. Aiden's dad had just gotten a Cybertruck, and he'd given his used Model S to Aiden just 4 days earlier. He stopped at a red light and told us this was one of the only times he's ever let his guard down while driving in Florida. He'd been enjoying his music when his dashboard was suddenly much farther from his face than it had been. Aiden immediately knew what happened, and he told us he started screaming and punching the steering wheel. The car immediately lost power, preventing him from accessing his registration or pulling out his Tesla cam drive, both of which were in the glove box. Thankfully, the driver's door automatically released when power was lost. As Aiden got out, he expected to discover an old man apologizing for falling asleep at the wheel. Instead, it was a young driver. Aiden told us he's ashamed at how upset he got, yelling at the other driver and becoming enraged when he claimed his brakes had failed. Eventually, Aiden realized he was scaring the other driver. After all, he's 6'1", 220 pounds, and was practically screaming in the kid's face. Aiden pulled himself together, then told the other driver to sit in the median while they waited for first responders. A police officer arrived within 3 minutes of the collision after Aiden's phone automatically called 911. The officer made sure they were both okay before asking them what had happened. Eventually, another officer arrived, and the first officer reported that the other driver claimed his brakes had failed. Aiden told us the second officer literally rolled his eyes. He then asked the other driver if he'd been wearing his seatbelt, and he claimed that he had been. Aiden told us the officer replied, "Your seatbelt is so tight you could fire an arrow from it, and there's a head-shaped dent in your windshield. So we know that's not true." Thankfully, when Aiden encountered the other driver a few days later at a tow lot, he wasn't seriously injured. The same can't be said for Aiden's Tesla. His insurance provider totaled the car, which didn't surprise Aiden when he saw the damage right after the collision.